everyone, and welcome to Magical Coffee Hour here at the Working Dragon Mystic community. Hope everyone has had a fantastic week. We actually do have a lot to cover. We will be taking questions. I want to cover a few things first, very important. Um, I did get in contact with YouTube this week, and at this time and place, we do not see a light at the end of the tunnel for us getting live streams back up and running. That said, we will probably actually potentially this will be the last magical coffee hour. Um, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Uh, okay, we got more people jumping in. Hello, Jackie's mom, and hello, Claw. Um, Here's the thing. So, what we are going to be doing, because originally the whole concept of coffee hour, bar none, was for me to be available easily to people and to try and give people a community where they can come to, they can ask questions, they can talk, we could have a good conversation, that kind of thing. And coffee hour was really the only tool we had at that time. And as many of you all know, I went and I spent some time in the woods this week and did some thinking and meditation. And this is one of the problems I was meditating on after speaking with YouTube. And they may fix it one day, but at this time and place where we are is as far as I can go with customer service. They have gotten all the data and they've kicked it into I guess, the tech side. I don't have any communication with the tech side. So I have no ETA, no nothing, and it's been a month since I've had any updates. And when I asked on Monday, I was told to go back to the original person I talked to. I went back to that person, and that person said they have no way to update me because they don't know because it's been kicked to the tech side. So I'm basically in official limbo, if that makes sense. But that being said, we have started the Working Dragon Mystic community, right? We have a community. You can go to workingdragonmystic.com and you'll see a tab for the online community. It'll go right in. You can join for free. It's free. And there at the community, we also host the online school. So you can find our courses and live workshops when we have live workshops at the community. Grant you, the courses are paid, as are the live workshops, but the community itself is free, right? Free. Now, that means that technically speaking, we do have a place where people can get in touch and chat with me via that chat box, just like we got here. And on top of that, we do regular community Zoom calls, where people in the community can actually get with me, chat. We'll have a good time. They can ask questions. And we also talk about random things going on in our lives and have some laughs. It's a lot of fun. So in a lot of ways, coffee hour sort of outlived its use in its original format because we can do a lot more. Another thing I'm going to be doing for the community. So for those who are watching this on YouTube, don't freak out. YouTube's not disappearing, okay? Stay with me here. Stay with me. I know I ramble. I know I'm long-winded. Please stay with me. What I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start recording things like the Goetia series or the Mage Minded series or anything like that. I am going to record it live with the community. So just like I'm doing this right now, we're live in the community. So only I'm here on screen. The community can ask questions over here in the chat box to me. I'm going to record those live. I'm going to go through my bullet points just like I always do. And I'm going to open the floor to any community member that's there for questions if they have them. So the community members will see the content first. Straight up, you guys will get early access because it'll be there live. You can join live. While we're covering the actual topic, you can ask me a question live, and we can put that into the video. Then that will be uploaded to YouTube, right? This also allows us, there's a supporter section to the community where you can become a paid supporter. You get access to a lot of the online school for just being a paid supporter. You also get free access to live workshops. You get a lot of perks with that. But there will be topics that will be in the supporter area that are topics that, I'll be honest, you guys have been asking me for years and years and years, and we've never really had a place where we could securely talk about those. And we're going to start doing it. Those are going to be the same thing, live topics. Those probably won't be recorded for YouTube, and if they are, they're going to be edited, heavily edited. But so again, supporters, you're going to get more content even on that. Now, all this will be done Monday through Friday. I'm not going to be continuing a Sunday thing because I kind of want to get my weekends back if I can. But I am going to try and do it late. So let's see if I can get my time zones right. If you're on the the West Coast, it's over that way. That would be we're wanting to shoot around 5 p.m. 5 p.m., which is essentially what we're doing right now. It'd just be during the week. And on the West Coast, of course, that would make it 8 p.m. Or no, wait. 8 p.m. West Coast, 5 p.m. Oh my God, I'm dyslexic. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sorry, I'm tired. It's been a long week. There we go. We got it. Okay. And what's more important for those in the community or those looking to join the community, I am actually going to be posting ahead of time what topic I'm talking about on what day. Since we can schedule an event and you can actually see it, I'm actually going to schedule what day of the week I'm going to be talking about what topic. Community members, I want you to be thinking right now. I want you to be thinking what days, what evenings are best for you, okay? Because I actually am planning on putting up a poll, and I'm going to try and make it a multi-answer poll so you can answer, pick more than one if you can. But I want to know what day of the week is best if I chose one day, but I'm honestly hoping to do this more than one day a week, depending on how things go. So yeah, that's where we're at. So when you saw the title of this, The Final Coffee, it kind of is, but it's the final coffee leading into something better. I truly believe that because we are going to get to have a lot more conversations, a lot more talks, cover a lot more topics, which overall I think is going to help all of us as practitioners. I really do. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. Let me scroll back here and see if anybody had any questions that I missed that I can answer. Ethan, I love our community. Honestly, I'm feeling really good. People today drinking. Okay, that's here. Community has been empowering. What about you? And also Drake, I love the ideal. Sounds wonderful. Okay, so everybody is definitely on board. That's good. That is good. See, I'm going to admit I was a little nervous. And I'll admit it was weird because like coffee hour has been such a cornerstone for what we built our community with that it felt weird. Like, what do we do without coffee hour? But the thing is that we have outgrown it. And that's something like it was, I actually spent a long time, hours around a fire, talking with the rulers and going over this and talking about this. And because it felt really weird to lose coffee hour. But it's one of those things, and I know you guys have heard me talk about this on the channel. Sometimes you got to let go of something if you actually want to grow. You know, you got to let the things that are no longer doing what they're supposed to do go. You got to let them go. Coffee hour is that thing. The dragons are looking at me like, seriously, are you looking in the mirror? Are you taking your own advice? Come on, what the hey? You know, and it's like, it was really hard to let it go. In fact, the reason I chose the title I did was because I knew if I came in here and done a standard coffee hour and never actually covered what was on my mind, somebody here would call me on it and be like, Drake, what the hey's with the title? You scared us. And then I'd be forced to tell you what the hey was with the title. So that title was to help keep me honest. It will also help the recording too. Yeah, I think it'll help the recordings too. Let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, believe me, I get tongue tied so often. I'm convinced my wife keeps me around for entertainment mostly. Granted, I get annoying too, so I'm surprised she don't throw me out. Though technically, she does encourage me to go into the woods and get out of her hair, so that technically throwing me out. Politely. I see. Aylin makes a ton of sense, and I think it will work out better. Sometimes things which won't serve well. So, yep, exactly. Okay, I get a laugh too. Yeah. Hey, I'm only human. All right. So that's pretty much where we're at. We do have the next workshop. I think it's already on the schedule. I'd have to double check if it ain't. I need to make sure that's done this week. The next workshop is actually going to be life planning and manifestation and magical planning and manifestation, all those things. So um, the community voted on it. I love that workshop personally. I really do. So, and it's perfectly timed too, because I even got me a new planner and everything, because I'm actually getting ready to start laying out some new plans for myself. So, perfect time for the workshop. If you guys are interested in it, check it out. It's only $10 if you're not a supporter. If you are a supporter, you get free access. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? Um, Hopefully, I'll see a lot of you there because a lot of you voted on it. And for those who voted on the second most popular workshop to be taught, which was wards and protections, that is the one I will be posting next. Okay. So you didn't miss out, you didn't lose. It's going to be the next one. Gotcha. All right. Now, with that being said, do we have any questions anyone has? If so, put them in the chat. I will take them. We will go to the open question format that we got, that we all know and love. And I will do my best to answer them as best I can, as always. And while you guys are typing, at some point we may have to do a video on it. I don't know. Well, we might not have enough for a video. This might be enough of it. I had a bizarre, freaky deaky encounter while I was out camping. So I was out there, I was chilling. I was testing a new tent, which I'll talk about at a different time, and I was testing some shelter concepts, and of course, many of you know I was testing some bedroll concepts. So I was out there doing a lot of different things testing, and it was late. It was probably after it's near midnight or something, maybe after 1. But I heard some weird noises. When I first woke up to it, my brain wanted to go to a whooping sound that I would normally connect with Bigfoot, right? That's what my brain went to first. And I was hearing some banging that my brain went to wood knocking. And I decided I'm going to get out of my tent and see if I can try to, triangulate which direction everything's coming from. And as I crawl out of my tent, I'm still on the ground. My head's just cleared the door of the tent as my brain starts to finally process. That's not a whoop sound. I don't know what that sound is. This is an unfamiliar sound in the woods to me. And whatever I'm hearing that was wood knocking, it's less wood knocking and more of like something physically thudding against a tree, like something muscular hitting a tree. If that makes sense to you all. It's a very, very different sound. But again, I was asleep. I was groggy. It'd been a long ritual night already, so I was out of it. I got out of there, and there is a path that I have been walking pretty much that whole day back and forth across this path. And the sound was coming from that path. So at this point, I'm like, okay, this is probably a person or something. Someone else is in the area. This isn't private land. So, I started to work my way to the path just to get an eyes on whatever it was. And about that moment, something tore out of the bush and the underbrush and just bolted down that path. It moved very quickly. And I, at that point in time, was unsure what I saw. So I made the executive decision to take my butt back to the tent because whatever that was moved faster than me and had no issues moving in the dark. And pursuing something like that in the dark, probably not a good idea. So I figured, you know what? I'll check the path in the morning. So I went and got some rest. And once the sun came up, I did go check the path. And like I said, I've been up that path a whole lot. But that morning, I specifically made a point to look where it tore out of the underbrush. And when I did, you can actually see there's a clearing in there where something could easily get up in that. Like I would have room easy to sit, move around, and stand and lay down in this area. And I'm 6'2". This is a huge area. And I didn't see it the day before. I did not see this. I don't know how I could have missed it either. And it's not like a deer bed where it's just pressed down. Like the branches and stuff are actually bent like this. They're actually bent. And I got a picture of it that I can see. I don't know if it'll show up on here, but you know what? I will see what I can do. Because I had to get a picture of this. It was crazy. See, I don't know if y'all can see that or not. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty crazy. Um, and you know, the weirdest thing is, and I told this to Bornoldus actually last night, because the more I thought about it, and you know, that morning while I'm making my coffee, I'm sitting there thinking, running through everything, trying to figure it out, trying to place it. My brain wants to go Bigfoot, right? That's where it wants to go, right? That's kind of a comfortable space for me, if you know what I mean. But I will be honest with you, the more and more I thought about it, the more I thought about the way it moved, the more I thought about the way it sounded, the more, you know, what glimpses I got. And Oscar, if you're watching this, you're going to love this. I honestly have to say it reminded me of something bipedal and canine. And I'm usually the first person to roll their eyes and laugh at dog man sightings, right? You guys have seen me, like you guys have asked me about it, and it's like it's one of the areas where there's a lot of people seeing it, but I don't really have a lot to go on. I didn't know what to think. It's like I can't think of anything that would place it, you know. And that's even with me loving the Rougarou lore as much as I do. So, and I wasn't in Louisiana, so if it was a Rougarou, he was way outside his normal territories. But that's beside the point. Um, So I don't know what I saw. I'm actually considering. I got some stuff I want to test later in a month or two, and I may actually see if I can go out to that same spot. I may actually see to go out to that same spot. So there we go. That was one of my interesting happenstances there. Let's see what we got in here for questions. I see you guys have been typing while I was doing it. Let's see, Ethan, does the Dragon Fame meditation feel slightly uncomfortable to anyone else? Uncomfortable in the moment, but super rewarding after. Just curious because I get the best results when I feel slight discomfort. That's actually pretty normal. That's actually very normal. So, in Dragon Magic 101, you find the Dragon's Flame meditation. And this is a meditation that honestly I can't go into detail here, but it is designed not only to saturate your being etherically and energetically, but it's also designed to push it, to strain it, to stretch it. It is literally basically like bench pressing. Okay. It's like if you do strength training, if you've ever done strength training, you know you got to hit that failure point, that point of discomfort, so that you can actually build strength, right? That meditation actually does the same thing on an etherical energy work building level. And if you're doing that meditation right, technically speaking, you will always feel that discomfort, because if you're doing it right, you should always be training and working to that point. You know what I'm saying? So that is actually perfectly normal, mate. Perfectly normal. Um, and when it does come to, like, you know, comfortable, uncomfortable, you know, different people call different things comfortable, right? They really do. So they may describe it differently or whatnot, but there is going to be some stressors, some discomfort, some fidgetiness, some overwhelmingness, you know, stuff like that can happen during the meditation, because it does get to be like energetically it feels too much, and it should, because there is a breaking point in that meditation. There's literally built in a breaking point that you're supposed to reach. um so yeah, I mean, that makes sense. um let's see, how do you find out if dragon accepts you and decides to be your guardian dragon? How do you tell that your Not imagine it. If you have any doubts, do the ritual again and see if the same dragon shows up. Also, um, go to your astral sanctum that you should have built by that point in Dragon Magic 101 and see if they're there. Ask them if you have trouble seeing them around you. And also, if they accepted you, if your arcane stat's good enough, look around the room. They'll probably be there somewhere, relatively close. And yeah, so just you can even call to I know a lot of times you don't have a name for them at that time. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But you can actually just call, ask your guardian dragon to show themselves. If your arcane stat's solid and reliable, they will show themselves. Um, but yeah, the two best ways is check your astral sanctum, call them there. That's the easiest way to use your senses because you should have been able to build your sanctum by that point. And also repeat the ritual and see if the same one shows up because you can't get more than one. So if you do the ritual again, the same one should show up. And they understand that sometimes humans aren't, we doubt ourselves, and we doubt ourselves for many reasons, some good, some bad. So they understand that. Good question though. Also, you mentioned in Dragon Magic 101 that two guardian dragons showed up when you called for one. My first thought was, wait, what? That can happen. So how does that happen? Um, I'll be honest, after all these years, I'm not 100% sure. So here's the kicker. By and large, these two function like identical twins. That's the best way I can say it. But I'm not entirely sure they're actually two dragons or one dragon pretending to be two dragons. I can't be 100% sure on that. Because literally, like, one will start talking, the other will finish the sentence. It's and they're like two sides of the same coin. Like one of them is literally a black dragon with like white wings. The other is a white dragon with black wings, right? So it's weird, right? I thought I was going crazy. I thought I was that's one of my big doubters, right? So it wasn't I went along with it. I kept working with them for a while. And it wasn't until they actually started screwing around with other practitioners I know, um, so that those practitioners would start asking me, hey, what the hell are these dragons doing? That I was like, oh, okay, so I'm not crazy. But yeah, it's that I like I said, I don't know if they're just two identical twins functioning as one, or because they just want to do everything together, or if it's one dragon pretending to be two. I don't actually know on that one. And it gets complicated too, because, like, yes, they technically have two different names, but they both of them will answer to both names, which is annoying. And believe me, they love driving me batty. Um, they don't pick on my wife as much, I don't think. I mean, I can't say they don't pick on her at all, but they don't pick on her as much as me. Let's see. Let's see. Immortal. It doesn't make sense for a bear to hit on a tree, scratch it up, climbing it through his normal behavior. Yeah, whatever. I've seen bear. Whatever. That was not a bear. Bear do not move like that. Bear do not have legs that long. Bears do not tear through it. Yeah, this thing tore through a path. Um, yeah, it was like bipedal running. This wasn't a bear. I've never seen a bear do this. Um, so yeah, that is a weird one. See, where are we? Uh, that's weird. Cool. Yeah, that's one thing. Like, if you're wanting to study magic, you're going to run into the weird, right? You're going to run into the mundane and boring too. Like, there's certain things that are really cool when you first start, and they become so mundane and boring, But at the same time, like, you're always going to find something weird and new. I believe that in life, and it's definitely true in magic. Um, and that's why anytime I talk with people, it's like, to the best of my knowledge, there's this. But I'm still learning, folks. I'm still learning like any of y'all. Many of y'all have seen in the community where I've had to revise my standings and my thought processes. Well, hell, right here on today, I'm talking about the fact that I one of the first people that often roll my eyes about dogmen, and now I may possibly have encountered one, something like it. I don't know. Still slightly out, but I have to get it more credibility at the bare minimum because everything I thought it was doesn't fit. And as I look at what I'm seeing, it starts to fit something else. Now, could there be brain fog and everything? It was dark. I was sleepy. And like, are you remembering clearly? I totally agree. Those are valid questions. That's why I want to go back. That's why I want to see what else I can find. Because I honestly at this point can't say what I saw. But I say that all because we are learning. We our viewpoints, our understanding, we got to grow. And as we grow, those things will change. And if we're not willing to change with them, we're not willing to grow. And that's where a lot of people run into their problems. Um, Believe me, my starting down this path was pretty much WTF almost every day. Yeah. Thankfully, my wife was totally willing to listen to my ramblings and I thinking I screwed up. Um, let's see, alien weird shit happening another day in New. Yeah, pretty much. That is pretty much it. Any other questions, guys? Come on, we got a little bit while longer. I got more coffee to drink too. Let's see, Ethan, starting Dragon Magic, I can definitely agree. It's been a super wild ride so far. Yeah, I'll admit, a lot of people ask me how I settled on Dragon Magic, and there are certain parts of it that I agree just kind of fits with me, but at the same time, it's been such a fun ride. It has absolutely been a fun ride. And there's so much of it that is unpublished and unwritten, and even what is published, it does definitely encourage that self-exploration side, which I do love as well. It's been a fun ride and it's been very, very valuable and helpful to me. In fact, there's a few rituals and stuff that I've been working on that I was talking with the rulers and some specialty dragons about while I was out in the woods too, after we got the working dragon mystic business taken care of. And hopefully I'll be sharing some of that with the community supporters and possibly the community here very soon. Um, but that's also why I do enjoy being able to occasionally explore other things. I like to learn. I like to learn about things. I like to try and understand it. But like from something I'm going to hold on to and really keep around, it's something that I have to not only find something, I have to understand it and appreciate it, but I also have to find it practical to apply in my life. There's a lot of an amazing magical practices that I've enjoyed studying. I don't gravitate to them because they lack the practicality I'm looking for. Now, don't get me wrong, there's probably people out there who still find them practical. You got to understand they don't fit the practicality from I'm looking for in my life. Okay, that's important. Um, is there a situation or story where the dragons made something happen you thought impossible? Yeah, there's been a time or two on that. Because it's one of those things. I've actually got an item in this house that during the ritual and everything, at one point it did have a had like a finished stain on it, you know. I want to say it was like driftwood, like a grayish driftwood stain, is what I think. I can't remember. It's been a while. But during the ritual and everything, like it was very clear that this particular object burst into flames, being surrounded by dragon fire. And during the ritual, because wasn't an eyes open there ritual. It was more of a soul travel style ritual, which is stuff you'll see more into like Dragon Magic 103 or 104. But during the ritual, the item I'm holding while there at that particular location, its actual appearance changed drastically by the fire. And once I snapped out of the meditation and everything and what, like I moved and immediately my hand felt weird. Not like weird as in like falling asleep, pins and needles or something. It's like literally felt like I was rubbing against. You ever felt charcoal ash, like in a bottom of a grill when it's cold? That like real soft feeling. It was kind of like that. When I looked over, the item was pretty much covered in that ash, and when I wiped it away, it actually now resembled what had happened in the actual trance work, journey work concept, where I would have thought that kind of etherical interaction an impossibility. I wouldn't have thought it possible. Um, because you hear a lot of things, and like y'all know, I'm a big don't mistake D&D magic for real magic. That's a huge thing I always talk about. And I don't have an explanation for this. I spent 3 months trying to come up with a scientific, logical reason as to what the flip happened. Why this happened. Any way that it could not be related to the ritual. And I never found it. And I've told many, many people I know in the science community and in the occult community. And so far, no one's been able to place it. Like I even went down spontaneous combustion and studied it to see if could that be it. And yeah, it's just no. Was that no? That ritual was not filmed. That was way before I started YouTube. So there's that. Um, let's see. See, oh, the logo on YouTube. There's the two dragons, the dragon's eye triangle in the. That's the significance of that. Yeah, actually, that logo was inspired by my co-magician and guardian dragons. We played around with the colors because we wanted the colors to pop, and we wanted to kind of get that mystical feel. And like the colors I actually wanted, like it looks the way I want, but the colors I wanted does not show up good on a logo. It's like way too dark. So we had to play around with the colors because when they first showed me the red, I was like, dude, that looks way too pink. And they're like, it looks pink, but when you put it on the logo and everything, it's going to go red because you need it to pop out. And I was like, that looks pink. Like I was a horrible person to work with making that logo because I like my box of crayons is the original Crayola box with like 7 crayons in it. That's it. If it goes outside that, I probably don't know the color. Let's be honest. Even though I grew up with 2 older sisters and I know things about cosmetology and clothing, and I never wanted to know. Um, my box of crayons is the original 7 pack. It really is. Um, but yes, you cracked the code. That logo was indeed inspired by them. Because I wanted something that did represent me, represented the philosophies and everything. And even though the term working dragon mystic actually came across as a joke, it was originally made as a joke. It did eventually become the channel name and the business name and that kind of thing, because it fit. It weirdly fit. And technically I had a working emails for it, so it worked out nicely. Um, I think you might be the first person who's actually realized that, Jackie. Good on you. Let's see. Aylin, also, it's good to hear some of the anecdotes about dragons interacting with your wife because here have been times that Ethan's guardian dragon has made comments to me where I've noticed their presence. Oh yeah, dragons will interact. They got no qualms interacting. None. Um, Sometimes to somewhat quasi entertaining, laughable, and embarrassing points. I don't know about my wife. She's never told me anything they've done to embarrass her, but I got other friends like Raven and Katrina, where if they were visiting or something, yeah, they did. Like they would check on them to make sure they were okay or had everything they needed, which sounds, perfectly Southern manners, except for these ladies were in the shower at the time. Uh, but yeah, they will interact. I remember one time way back when I was first working with them. Um, I had a overnight job at Kroger um, as a I prepped over in the deli and the bakery, done a lot of that prep work. And so I was mainly was it was broke up in the sides, but I was mainly responsible for this side. And there's this other lady over here, and that lady used to give me so much shit. Absolutely used to give me so much shit. For the most part, I didn't mind, but she was also picking on someone else that I didn't too much care for her picking on, and she tried to. Well, let's just say she tried to clock this individual with a rolling pin. Is the nicest way to put it. And she found herself being shoved back. And when I say back, I mean like if you've ever seen one of those large stainless steel prep tables, she was at one corner and found herself past the far side of it. And she clearly realized that a dragon had shoved her. So she was attuned enough that she realized what had shoved her and what had interposed itself between her and that other person, and that thing that had shoved her was associated with me. And she started behaving after that. Um, uh, yeah, it is. It's like charcoal ash is very soft, ain't it? It's always been a weird sensation. Anytime I have to clean out the grill and stuff, I always think of how soft this stuff is. It's like almost velvety. Um, let's see, Claw, question for Drake. Well, that's me. I'm here. Uh, just messing with you, Claw. Is it possible to revive a dead servitor or create a couple of servitors a while ago, but they failed? I failed to charge them, and I think they died shortly after the creation. Can I recreate them exactly as I did before? Um, so you can recreate them. You can't revive them. There's a difference. So you got to understand a servitor isn't a soul. It isn't an entity. It isn't a literal being. It is actually just ether that has been shaped and formed, and it's given a quasi intelligence and it's being programmed, right? So there's nothing to revive about it. Once one dissipates, it literally just scatters into pieces. Um, it's like building something out of Legos or even clay. Like once the clay is completely diluted into water and you just got muddy water, you can't revive it. Whatever it was is gone and will be forever changed in some way, even if you attempt to rebuild it. But you can rebuild one for the exact same purpose, and you can even use the same blueprints. Now, you can look at the 28 laws of magic, and it's easy to know that it will not be the exact same servitor because it's going to differ in some manner. Because even though you built it using the same blueprint and everything, there will be a variation, there will be differences. You're not using the exact same ether, you're not using the same concentrations, it's not created at the same time period, you're not even the same person today that you was when you created it. So that in and of itself actually alters and changes it. Does that make sense? No, that ritual wasn't filmed. I thought I answered that up there. Are we talking about a different ritual? Um, Claw, I like the Working Dragon Mystic logo and color combo. It works. I love it too. Don't get me wrong. I know. I said I was the hardest person to work with while it was being designed. I openly admit that. I'm not too proud. I really don't have much of an ego. So I can easily admit I was wrong and they were right. And I love the way it turned out. The colors do pop. They show up very, very well. Um, I like it. Like there were times like I was kind of thinking, I wanted more detail in the dragons, but the more I've used it, because let's be honest, I didn't know what I was doing. I got me some camera, I started filming, I started talking. That's what I did. I didn't know what I was doing. Um, so the more I started creating films, the more I started creating like the intros, the outros, and thumbnails and stuff like that, the more I realized that details are pointless. Like those things are so freaking tiny. Details are pointless. Like the designer knew what they were doing. And I have gone back many a times and apologized and told them they knew what they were doing. Um, well, okay, so the it's less of a chaos symbol per se. I know a lot of people do look at it and see like what most people view as the chaos star. But what you're actually looking at in that specific logo, even though you got the dragon's eye triangle in there for sure, but that pattern behind it is more of a representation of the multiversal elements. Um, I want to say there's 8 bars to that particularly, if I remember correctly. It's been a while, and I don't have it in front of me, but I want to say there's 8 bars to it. Um, so yes, you can look at it and easily see a chaos star, but at the same time, it's also that representation of the 8 primaries, if you will, those 8 constants, those 8 things that are and oftentimes alchemically viewed as the 8 components of creation. Um, so it has multiple meanings. And then there's also, for me, at the bare minimum, one reason I actually chose to use the 8 instead of the 9 representation was also I wanted it to align with the compass rose because it's helping to guide you on your path and your journey. It is kind of your compass, was kind of the dorky philosophical ideal I had there. Um, and though it's hidden, it is hidden. There is actually a ninth point. There is a ninth point, but it's hidden. So there you go. There's a lot of deep meaning in that. I probably spent too much time thinking on the logo, which is why I was a pain in the ass to work with making said logo. Because I was really like, that's up here and thinking and big and oh my god, I got to do all this really cool shit. And the designer's like, dude, I got to make a logo that can actually they can see and it makes sense when they see it on a thumbnail. And I see, where are we? Okay, we are here. Okay. Uh, Yes, there are. So I was okay. See, it's been like I know it's weird. It's like how long's it been? Probably yesterday, but because doing videos and stuff, I see that logo all the time. But it's been so long since I paid attention to it. Have you ever seen something you see it every day, so you never actually see it? Think about it. Like you could actually put words on the wallpaper of your computer. After a couple weeks, you'll probably never see the words. You just turn your computer on and go. That's kind of where I'm at with the logo at this point because I see it all the time. So it's actually kind of nice to actually stop and think about that logo because I did put a lot of work into that, even though it's such a simple logo. Like that's kind of why I was pissed. Like all this work and it looks this simple. What the hey? Um, but hands down, they did good. They did good. Yeah, I get up in my head a bit too much sometimes, and I can overthink things. I can. Um, for someone who is so good at simplifying things, like at least when I'm in my head thinking, that's why I'm better at talking things out than thinking them out. Because when I'm talking, the ability to simplify it kicks in automatically. Whereas if I'm thinking, it's like I don't know, that particular mechanism in my brain just takes the day off. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, that was his job, right? He was to take this ideal and he was to design it for a thumbnail, for a logo, for a business card, something I could slap on there. That was his job. And he did his job. I was, I personally I would have hated to work with him. I really would have. Hats off to him. Let's see. Oh, I'm glad y'all like it. I really am. I really am. I know I want to say we put it on something at one point. Was it I know we have it on a coffee cup. I know we have it on a coffee cup because, like, I still remember when you all asked for coffee cups with the Dragon's Eye seal and the logo on it. I was like, why? Huh? That didn't make no sense to me. It's like, you want to buy a coffee cup? Okay. This community has really been shaped by you all because you guys have come up with an idea and it's like, hey, I want this, a t-shirt, a coffee cup. Or it's like, wow, okay. So we make it happen. They are, they are. I think one of the most popular coffee cups was the Dragon's Eye seal, quickly followed by the I Love My Comag coffee cup. I think that was the second most popular coffee cup. Um, so both of those sell pretty good, and I should probably do a better job of reminding people we have them because I don't think I've mentioned the merch shop in a long time. Could I make a ring or necklace with the Dragon's Eye seal? Possibly, possibly. Like I know we have some canvas art of them, and we have the stickers. And I want to say they were working on some possible necklaces or something that we could put stuff on. And I'd looked at it, but at the time it wasn't ready. But that's been a while because I forgot to go back and look at it. So I will try this week, Jackie, if you remind me, especially like Tuesday, because tomorrow's Memorial's Day. If you remind me Tuesday or later, I will make sure to pop in there and check on that for you and see if I can make that happen for you. Maybe a box with it. Well, the boxes we might do a giveaway on boxes because um there for a while it depends on what we can get. We do have a few ideals and things coming for giveaways and stuff. As far as the shop, I'm limited in what the particular shop can print on, right? Because I don't even remember what shop I use now I think about it. I want to say it's Teespring. That sounds right. That sounds right. Teespring. I think we use a Teespring shop for our merch. And honestly, we went with them because at the time they had the best coffee cups, hands down. Like I still use their coffee cups around the house. Like I would always order whatever you guys had me make. I'd order it for myself so I could see the finished product before I told you guys, hey, it was ready. And also, I was able to show you a physical one in my hand. Um, I'm a stickler. I want to make sure it's decent. I don't want you know. Um, I still have them. I still use them. We'll see what we can do. We will see. We will see what we can do. Born Noldus. Hey man, glad you can make it. Glad you are doing well. Any other questions? If not, we can get ready to wrap up. Oh, there's one. Thanks, Claw. Uh, See, if I created a sigil for prosperity, for example, and published it somewhere where people could see it without them knowing what it was, would them charging it be, by looking at it, benefit me or both? This is kind of a muddled question in a lot of ways. There's a lot of different viewpoints. I've done a lot of testing with this in a lot of ways. Now, you can definitely put messaging and things and advertising and whatnot to kind of implant a thought. That's definitely something that's been played around with, not by me, but it's been played around with and documented. As far as, does somebody looking at something charge it? No, I would say no. To actually charge something, there has to be an intent. There has to be a willful push to charge it. Or they're going to have to be highly focused on whatever it is. Yes, emotions they exude out of us, right? And they bump into the environment around us. That's not necessarily charging in the same way you charge a sigil. That's just, that's like something's outside in the rain, it gets wet. It doesn't have a specific purpose. It just gets wet because water fell. Just like if something's outside and it's in a fire, it burns. It doesn't have a specific purpose. So it wouldn't really charge it to, like, if they don't know they're charging it, they're not going to be charging it, if that makes sense. Because you have to have that intent and that will behind it. Now, let's swap this up just a little bit. Let's say you publish the sigil in some way so that people know what it is, and you set this up specifically in some way that they can use it to charge it to get prosperity for themselves. Could you theoretically design it so that there's like a 5 to 10% trickle charge to your prosperity from anyone who uses it? I've seen some testing on that concept and it worked pretty good. It did work pretty good. It was actually an interesting concept, and I would like to see more research on it. But that's a situation where they knew what it was, they're deliberately using it, and they're deliberately charging it. Now, in the testing I saw with the trickle charge concept, half the testing they knew it did a trickle charge, half the testing they didn't, and it seemed to work both ways just fine. Because it was built with that intent originally. So I mean, it is possible. It is. But we got to remember, like, just reading something, like just reading words from a book, it's not like the movie The Mummy where you just flip it open, you read it, and oh my God, I just screwed up. That you have to, there has to be an intent and will behind it. It's the same thing with any sigil, any symbol. If the will and the intent ain't behind it, it's just lines on paper. If that makes sense. Let's okay. No pressure. Any progress on bringing the tarot course to the community? Progress? Yes. Good progress. No. So yes, I completely botched when I was moving classes, forgot to move the tarot course. I think I've told the community that. It's my apologies. I'm surprised it took this long for us to catch it. But yes, I have actually been working on getting it ready and everything and getting ready to try to move it. It's just honestly these last few weeks since you and I talked, Jackie, it's been crazy. I've been busy, and um I'm hoping toward the end of June things lighten up. And I say that because somewhere in the middle of June, I actually have vacation. Yes, and I actually plan to take a real vacation. So in June, you all, the community, will have to make do without me and have to submit all your questions to Bornoldus and Immortal. because I'm taking a real vacation. But after that vacation, especially because before that, I'm actually going to start making the changes like to how we film and everything, because this being the last coffee hour as it is, all that stuff's going to be shifted around and changed. So that's already going to be up and running before June, which should open up a little bit of more time for me to get things done, as well as um, after the vacation. So far, my calendar's looking pretty nice and clean, and I'm liking it. So I think it'll be pretty easy by then. And for those who are supporters, the tarot course is going to be added to the supporter section, just so you all know. So once it is transferred, all the supporters will get access to it. Um, can you use an astral sanctum as a memory palace? Yes, that you could do. Soul Garden, I've heard like 50 different usages of the term Soul Garden, so I don't want to answer that until I know how you're using it. Feel free to message me directly on that one. Since we are getting a little out of time here. I doubt you mixed anything. That your astral sanctum is your sanctum. It's yours. You do what you want with it. Honestly, it's your personal pocket dimension. Um, you're the boss. Even the gods can't tell you what to do with your pocket dimension. Um, yes, emotion can absolutely fuel magic. A lot of people say it shouldn't fuel magic, but emotion can absolutely fuel magic. For proof of this, just walk into any room after an argument and tell me you can't feel the difference. That is an etherical imprint that's left on that environment. That same bursting emotion, it can definitely fuel magic. Now, the problem with emotion fueling magic is most people allow their emotions to control them. So, whatever they're feeling, whatever emotional state they're in, affects their magic, usually in a way they don't intend, which usually ends up to be counterproductive or negative to them in some way, or manifests results they did not want and they later regret. That is the problem. However, however, if a person has actually spent the time to understand their emotions and actually understand emotions are a natural part of life, and they understand that those same emotions do help to generate ether that can be used magically, they can feel an emotion without the emotion controlling them. That is when a person gets to the point where they can hit that emotional state and keep their logical mind, that is a powerful point to be in. um it's also a very, 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 very difficult point to be in, but it is possible. So yes, absolutely, emotions can fuel magic. There is the philosophical debate of should they. In the beginning, for most practitioners, probably not, because like I said, there can be unintended consequences, absolutely, which we saw that in the 28 laws of magic, unintended consequences. But we are emotional beings. So for those who say no, it can't, well, unfortunately, practically every etherical thing out there would disagree with that. And secondly, we're emotional beings. We're not emotionally dead. So those emotions will have an effect on our workings no matter what we do, whether we harness them or not. That's one reason, like meditation, calming yourself and getting centered before workings is taught. No one ever talks about why it's taught, but a lot of that is to calm and get yourself centered and out of an emotional state that might trigger unintended consequences. Uh, see, I think that's got everything. Let's see, Jacob, does that mean more notice and Immortal will be doing the filming of videos and Zoom says? I don't know. We're going to be discussing some of that in the admin meeting this evening. I do not know what they plan to do. I don't think they're going to take over videos or anything that's going to YouTube. That's not going to stop them from doing community chats or anything like that if they want. Magical chaos hour. I love it. And there's my clocks. Claw, last question before we get going. If there's time, can a talisman be stored as a JPEG on a phone, or does it have to be physical? I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of people who have different opinions on this, and I've tested it because as someone who, well, let's be honest, electronics hate me. That's just period. Many of y'all know I've killed electronics. Like, don't bring an iPhone near me. Um, I have tested a lot of different sigils and talismans and stuff like that. And keeping them as an image on a phone. The lines, the squiggles, they don't really do anything specific. It is the intent of the person and the ether you're putting into it, right? Okay. So the fact that on your phone somewhere is a file that is distinctly different from the rest of your phone, that is a category setup, right? So when you're charging that talisman, that sigil, or whatever it is that you got on your phone, and it's that one very, very specific file, yes, I have found in testing it can work. However, here's the thing. If for any reason, in any way, that file is altered after charging, like let's say you save it again or you edit it in some way, the very data points that make that file unique, if they're altered in any way at all, completely undoes the work. Because that thing that once was no longer exists and is now this new thing. So it is possible, it is doable. But if anything happens, it's deleted or anything like that, no. And for the same reason, you can't make it, copy it, and put it someplace else and it work in both places because this is the one you charged. This is something completely different. Even though to our eyes, it's the same picture, it's not the same thing. So before you go storing pictures or talismans and sigils on, say, a cloud or something like that, or Google Docs or whatever kids are using these days, and just start popping them up on multiple devices thinking you're getting multiple uses. No, the only one that's actually doing anything is that original one. Does that make sense? Yeah, as much as I dislike technology, I've done a lot of testing with it, and I know a lot of techno witches. So thankfully, um, and I find the subject fascinating. And I, like I said, you can do it. I've done it. Like actually, the when I mentioned wallpapers, I got a spell working thing on my computer, and I know I don't read it daily, even though it's there every day, and I'm on my computer every day. It serves a very specific purpose, and I do utilize it. But if I ever change it, if I ever alter it in any way, all work done to it disappears. Well, you could charge each of them individually as each their own individual sigil or talisman. Yes, you could. Um, but you also have to maintain them accordingly, which you got to start asking yourself, what's the benefit to charging them all? Because technically, if you believe the spell working is going to work, why do you need 9 of the same spell if the spell already works? Are you doing it? What's the reason for doing it? Is it because of doubt? You doubt your own power? So you're trying to, you know, prop up your own power, or what? Because if you're doing it out of doubt, you're actually going to lessen the outcome. So, all right. I got to get going, people. I got to get into a meeting. I know the guys probably got plenty to do tonight, getting ready for Memorial Day tomorrow. So I don't want to keep them waiting. Y'all have a fantastic evening. I will bug y'all later. Thank you for your questions, and y'all have a good night. Take care, and hey, have a great Memorial Day. It is Memorial Day, right? There's a holiday. I'm pretty sure it's Memorial Day. So, but have a good holiday.